Hi everyone, it's Miss Kristy from East Pennsboro Library, and today I'm here with a virtual Mother's Day craft that you can make at home, Mother's Day flowers, and I'm going to show you two different types to make. But before I start, I wanted to say it's Teacher Appreciation Week this week, and it's been a really long school year, as most of you know, and I just wanted to give a shout out to my teacher friends at Roland Academy in Harrisburg, where I used to work, and say thank you for all that you do, and thank you for all the teachers everywhere who do everything that they do to help our students. Now, let's take a look at this neat craft. I'm going to share with you what you're going to be able to make. You can see two different types of flowers here. This one is a little bit harder to make, and this one's a little easier for little fingers to make. So any age group can make them. As a matter of fact, I've made some of these for some friends and for my mother. Let's look at the materials that you're going to need to do the craft. Construction paper, poster board, or craft foam, depending on what you want to use, glue gun and or a glue stick, scissors, a ruler, pipe cleaners for the leaves on these guys, a template for the rose, which you'll be able to find under the programming tab at eastpennsborobranch.org, large craft sticks, wire stems for the roses, or you could use sticks from your yard, painter markers, googly eyes, or anything else you want to use to make the daisy vase. All right, so I'm going to start with the hardest and work backwards, but I'm not going to take you through everything. I'm going to show you how to make these paper roses. And when you're done, you'll have a beautiful paper rose that you could give mom for Valentine's Day. Let's look at the directions. And some of them might not make sense at first, but once you see me do it, it will make sense. So using poster board or construction paper, you're going to cut 4 3.5-inch squares. You can use the template for quicker squares, and that's right here. Fold 1 square in half and then fold it again. You're going to do that for all 4 squares. Then using the template with the heart, you're going to trace the heart onto each of the folded squares, making sure that you keep the template along the folded part. And you'll see that when I show you what to do. You're going to cut the heart shape out of each square. When you open it up, you'll have 4 flowers with 8 petals each. You'll take 1 square and cut 1 petal out. Next square, you'll cut 2, and then you'll cut 3, and then you'll have 7 pieces. You'll cut the last flower completely in half. I always keep the discard part in case I mess up the flower when I'm putting it together. And then you're going to use the flower with the 7 petals starting. You'll connect 2 open petals together using glue. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense right now, but once you see me do it, you'll understand. And you'll cut a hole in the top, and then you can use a cotton swab to curl the edges if you want. And you'll continue with each piece, and then you'll put it on the stem. So I'm going to show you how to cut it out first, and then I'm going to show you how to glue it on, and I'll leave the rest up to you. All right, so here is the template that you'll be able to find online for the 4 squares, and take note of this heart because we're going to use that in a few minutes. I used thicker construction paper. It's in between the thickness of a piece of poster board and a regular sheet of construction paper. And I already cut mine out, so I'm going to show you what to do. So you have your 4 squares, and I cut through mine out already. And I used this template, but it's the same exact one as you can find on our website. You're going to fold the paper, all 4 squares, in half once. And whoops, got a little off there. I better be careful. Let me put my glasses on, I see better. So we're going to fold it in half once, and then fold it in half again. So that when you're done, you're going to have a square that, notice this is closed and this is closed. These are all open. Once you have all 4 squares folded, you're going to take the heart, and I showed you on the template where the heart was, and you're going to cut it out. I put mine on poster board to make it better, and you're going to put it along the folded edges like this. You're going to make sure that you have it along the folded edges. Let me show you down here. I put it along those folded edges, and I'm going to trace it and cut it out. All right, so I've got this along the folded edges, and I'm going to trace it. And I'll do that for all 4 of the squares. I've already done it for one, and then I'm going to cut out just the heart area. And when I open it up, I should have 8 petals. Okay, so I already did these. Sorry about that. I have the computer faced down so that, or the camera faced down so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so now I have 4 petals, 4 layers with 8 petals each. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to cut 1 petal off. And I'm going to lay this piece to the side and that piece to the side. And then the next one, I'm going to cut 2 petals off. Lay it to the side. This next one, I'm going to cut 3 petals off. Oops. Lay that to the side. And then this final one, I'm going to cut in half. And this is going to be a discard piece, as well as this, but I like to keep them just in case I mess up. Okay, so now I've got 1, I'm going to put them in order here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and if I want to use this piece, it could be my 7th piece, depends what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to take the first one and I'm going to fold it over like this. And I'm going to glue those 2 petals together. Did you see what I did there? I just went like that at the open part. And I'm going to take my glue stick. And you can do this with glue stick if you use paper. I'm just going to put a little glue stick on there. Bring that over. Hold it together. You can move it around a little bit when you use a glue stick. And now I have the first layer. Go to the next one and do the same thing. Just going to fold it over like that. Take my glue stick and glue it. And now I got the next layer. Now, sometimes it doesn't always line up perfect, but you can trim them. And I'm going to do that with each of these pieces, including this piece, which I'll just flip over like that and glue together. So I'll do that with each of these pieces. And I'm going to lay this one to the side to keep this moving and not make you be bored. And I'm going to show you the next part, which is going to be to glue it together onto the rose stem. So I'll take all these pieces from what I made earlier. I've done all my gluing. I've got all my layers. Okay, now at this point in time, if I want to, I could do what I did with this one, which was to curl down the leaves. It takes a long time to do it. So all I do is just do that. I take a little Q-tip and just curl the end around it until all of them look like that. I'm just going to finish this one out, and then I'm going to show you, and I'll go back and curl the ends on this one in a little bit. Okay, so I curled the ends. Now I'm just going to snip a tiny hole in the bottom, about like that size, because I'm going to take an old rose stem, and I used the roses for some other projects, and lay that to the side. And I'm going to use this as my base. I'm just going to take this first biggest one. I'm going to lay it onto the rose like that. Let me get my next one in line. I like to line them up as I do them. Curl the ends quickly. I can go back and redo this if I need to once it's all together, because sometimes once you put the layers in, you have to trim it. There we go. Got the ends curled on this one. I'm just going to snip that end off. And I'm going to take a little dab of glue gun, put a little dot right here, and I'm just going to add this next layer. Make sure that I have them up, laying in the blank spaces, hold it together for a second, and now you can see it starting to form my rose. And I'll continue to do that with each layer until I have this finished product. And then when I'm done, I usually wrap floral tape around the stem, especially if I'm going to use it for a gift. So after you get all your layers together, here is what you will have. A beautiful Mother's Day rose. I did not put the last piece in the center of this one because I was going to put a bead in here or something bright and shiny for the center. All right. So that is how you make these Mother's Day roses. They're easy, but they're a little time consuming. So let's look at a fun project that kids can make very easy. Mother's Day daisies that you could also add. And your Mother's Day daisies, when you're finished, you're going to look like this. I did this one first out of regular paper, and then I got really creative and I decided to use yellow craft foam, and I had some little emoji stickers that I used. Okay, so let's look at how you're going to do this, and I'll share the directions with you. Using construction paper, poster board, or craft foam, you're going to draw a 3 by 8.5 inch wide rectangle. You're going to cut 16 equal strips from the rectangle, and they will be approximately 3/8 by 3 inches. You're going to glue the ends of each strip together like this. I already glued these together so I can show you how to make the final part. And you'll have 16 daisy petals then. You're going to cut a circle about 2 inches in diameter from a piece of poster board or cardboard, whatever you can find. And that's going to be your middle. You'll glue 8 strips to the outside of the circle, and then you'll add 8 more strips. Then you make a circle for the center out of craft foam or glitter paper or whatever you want to use in the center, maybe regular construction paper. I had glitter paper, so that was what I used. That's going to be the face of your flower. Then you're going to glue the flower to a craft stick. I painted these ahead of time. You can use marker on them if you want. And then you're going to add the leaves using the pipe cleaners. Maybe make a fun face for mom. I have some different emojis here. So what I was thinking is you could make mom a happy face one for when she's happy with whatever you've done. You could make her a frowny face one for when you disappointed her or made her sad. You could make her this one for when she just has no idea what you're talking about, or this one for when you're being silly. So you have all kinds of choices. All right, let me show you very quickly just how you're going to glue these on to some of this out of the way. My goodness, Miss Kristy has too many crafts going on today. How you're going to glue this onto your circle. So I have a circle cut out of poster board here. I'm going to lay this down. And I already took my 16 strips and I just sealed them with a little bit of glue gun at the end. You can use glue stick if you're just using paper, but since I'm using craft foam, I wanted to seal them up. So all you're going to do is at the outside of your circle, you're just going to put a little glue dot and you stick this right there. And you're going to keep going around the circle until you have 8 of them laid beside each other. You don't want to you want to move them close together, but try to keep them about the same length, because the next ones are going to go in between. There we go. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 at the same time. Let's speed this along a little bit. 7. Slide 2 of these together. Oh, I think I needed to move this one over. All right, we got it. So you got them around the outside, and then your next one, you're going to go in between on the top like this. So I'll put it sort of right here. There we go. And one right here. And that's how you're going to fill in all your empty spaces. So you'll do 1 bottom row and then 8 more on top of those, like kind of in between each is where I like to put my glue dot. And this glue is getting messy today. All right, and you're going to keep going until you get all these spaces filled in. A little wacko flower there. I got 2 extras. I can fill some in there when I move these around. All right. So I'm going to need to add a few onto here, which is no problem. But you can see that your daisy face, or your actual daisy part, is starting to come together. And I'm going to make mine real full here at the top, I think. Oh, we'll put this one here. Here we go. And this guy actually should go over here. Move him. All right, so now I got a glued up mess. That's okay. Because the next thing I'm going to do is I cut the same size or just a little bit bigger out of a piece of shiny paper, and I'm going to stick that into the center. I can get it open. There we go. Into the center, and that's going to take care of all that glue mess that I got going on. And now I have a beautiful Mother's Day daisy. Last part is just to glue my craft stick on the back and put my pipe cleaner on. All right, so 2 wonderful Mother's Day crafts that you can make. And if you do make them, we'd love for you to share them with us at, let's get that up there. All right, so if you do make either of these Mother's Day projects, back to you, sorry about that. We would love for you to share them with us. And you can do that one of 2 ways. You can share your project with us on East Pennsboro Library's Facebook page, or with me via email at kscrinelli@ccpa.net. Don't forget to check out all of our online programs under the program tab at our website, and you'll be able to find the template for the Rose project also. I really would love to see them. And I also have a couple reminders quickly, of course, before we go. Number 1, the library reopened this week only from 11 to 3. And on, I believe it's Wednesdays and Thursdays, so I'll have to double check, from 11 to 12 for the more vulnerable population. Please remember that masks are still required, and only a limited number of people can be in the library at one time. So try to make sure you know what you want to check out before you go, or where you need to look. And as always, please be patient with us. We'll be patient with you as we try to help you, and you help us through all of these new regulations. And I want to remind you that as more of us start to go out and do things and summer comes, that when you're going into a public building, it's really important to always, and I got my butterflies today, to mask up. Because I want to see you in person really soon. And the sooner we all mask up, the sooner we'll get there. Have a great weekend.